Okay, so someone had asked me, what is my study technique? I've credited a guy by the name of Vernon Whaley on first helping me study and how to prepare sermons for preaching and even personal Bible studying and things like that. Vernon Whaley was a guy that taught me quite a bit in just a few hours on how to outline a sermon to get something started anyway, some basic notes. Typically, I can write down my notes and then not have to go back to them. I usually follow them in my head. It's kind of a strange thing. I don't do that well on tests, but I can certainly remember an outline that I've written. It's almost stick to verbatim without even realizing it. I think I could do a better job of bold-facing, highlighting whatever each point, but nonetheless, here's my technique that I tend to use, that I adapted from him, and so forth. I would probably take a phrase, such rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say rejoice. I define what is that phrase about first, and I might even do some cross-referencing. But what I currently do is I'm looking at the words, each individual words. Let me really go up to here to the first verse. Okay, and this is something new that I had started on this chapter, and I've been thinking on this chapter for quite some time, and I've shared it over and over again with people that are mentally and emotionally struggling. Later on, and especially the one Philippians 4:13, but I build up to that. I'll show you how to do that in a second. When I started Philippians 4, I grabbed a dictionary and I went almost word for word of the key words in there. For example, in the New King James Version, which is one of my favorite versions, I looked at the word beloved, and the English paperback student dictionary gave me some of these ideas, and I even use a thesaurus. So we have here that Paul opens up a letter, or toward the end of the letter, stressing or emphasizing that he values these people. Okay, so what they're doing in Philippi. And that's not, you get that impression just from this chapter without even seeing the chapters before it. Anyway, so as he's trying to wind this down, talks about how you look at the other words that are associated with, he longs for, he desires to be with them. There's this kinship of brethren. Then we talk about this joy, the joy in the crown. You find joy as, we get that defined as happiness and delight. So, and the crown. So you think of this, the word crown, this is all, again, just an everyday student English dictionary. The crown is being defined as something that is jeweled, hat, that's worn by royalty. It's culminates basically at the peak of his ministry, the power, the authority, the climax, the evidence of the work that and the influence that Paul's had there, and perhaps that these people are having upon him as well. We can go down to the part about standing. So stand. So to be on your feet, take a position, to have a meaning, or to be intentional, to signify, to indicate, tells what to do, warn someone with the message through, anyway, that kind of thing, to take a stand. Then, of course, the fast. Whoops, I forgot. Number 4, represent, portray, stand for something, act, speak for something. And then fast, which is more common probably in the Old King James. We don't hear about it being used in this context too much anymore, but it's about being quick and rapid, fixed into one place, unable to move. So we have this attention focus that he's encouraging them to take on. And then I have a summary of this particular outline. Take a stand for what you believe in. Be anchored to Christ, though you are tossed about like a boat in a hurricane. Rest in the Lord, like Jesus rested in the boat in the storm. So that's a thought that I have just from one verse. Now I'm gonna skip the other ones, not because they're not as important, but because I have those prepared. Okay. I've come to basically I've noted here too that this chapter can be about focusing on what matters the most or who matters the most, situations that may change, but God does not change. Okay, He remains the same regardless of the circumstances. So I've shared this with a lot of kids. It's something that I've used when I've had my own situation problems, and I've done my own studies on this, verse by verse. So I'm kind of going to scan this, and you might have to pause to see some of it, rather than me just read it all the way through. This particular chapter, something else that I probably want to write on. I'm a bit scared that it might turn into another self-help book. That's not what I'm wanting out of it. So, but it has helped a lot of kids. Anyway, so I'm hoping you'll be able to see that. I might send that in a picture format too. So, all right. Thanks a lot. Well, maybe I should do it this way too. I think I'm probably gonna read sideways. Okay, so that, and I've been known to use, like I said, the Strongs. I'm starting to get into using atlases more for Masters of Arts degree. A lot of word study is what I like to do in crossover. I want to teach on how to use a lot of these tools, so which are now available a lot online. So anyway, hope that gives you a little bit of a peek what I kind of do. I want to make it a little bit more thorough at another time.